Okay, good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube. Iyun with Benzion. Today's daf is Nazir daf Yud Gimel number 13. The Mishnah on Yud Beis and Beis talks about you're taking in the Naziris. You want to make a Kabbalah, you want to take a Naziris to Hashem to make yourself holy, presumably. But you want Hashem to give you something. So when I have a son, that's the first case of the Mishnah, I'll become a Nazir. The second case in the Mishnah, he's not desperate for a son. He says, well, you don't have any child, you know. When I have a child, I'll become a Nazir. So the Mishnah says, I feel no lo box, some of the drugs is a Nazir. No matter what type of child he has, whether he has a son, a daughter, a child with no genitals, or a child with both genitals, he's a Nazir. As opposed to the first case of the Mishnah where he says, Harini Nazir Sheli Ben, he only has become a Nazir if he has actually a son. So the Gemara says, the Gemara asks, about the second case, I'm a Nazir when I have a Vlad. Pshita, obviously, if he has a daughter or a Tumtum Androgynous, he had a child, right? Of course he's a Nazir. It's not just for a son. It's not the same of Vlad, the Mikshav Beni Inshebayin. And you might think, when he said a Vlad, a child, he meant a child that's important in people's eyes. Kamash Malan, the low. Kamash Malan didn't mean that. He said, I'll have a child. He was happy with any child. That's the maskana of the Gemara. Now, it seemingly doesn't make any sense, right? What is the Havamina? When I say I have a child, I meant a child that's important in people's eyes. Kamash Malan, any child. So what's the Havamina and what's the Maskana? So I would say like this. When I was growing up, I don't remember, I wasn't thinking in terms of being a parent, but I don't think there was such a difference. You know, I grew up modern Orthodox. People thought a boy is better than a girl is better than a boy. People were happy to have whatever Hashem gave them. When I entered the yeshivish world, which is coincidentally when I was in the age of shidduchim, you know, where I was thinking about being my father, sort of like twisted, you know, in the yeshivish world, like, I got the impression that having a son is like 100 times greater than having a daughter. Even my Rosh Hashiva, Yaakov Friedman, when he had a girl, when I was in yeshiva there, he had a girl, you know, he even commented something like, all right, you know, he put instead of making a bris, he didn't even come to the kiddush. He sent a box of rugelach down to breakfast for the guys to eat. He didn't even come to participate in the kiddush, you know, and he said in one of his Shalosh Shadish drashas, he says, I had a daughter. I mean, you know, it'll be good when she gets married. I get a son-in-law. I'm like, hey, you had a daughter, you know. But the impression I got from him was like, a daughter is like nothing, you know, like a daughter is nothing. A son is much better, you know. And a lot of people are bragging about this, you know. I felt this pressure, and I wasn't even married, and people were, oh, he has 4 daughters. He doesn't have any sons, you know. I felt terrible for these people, you know. And one guy has 8 sons and 1 daughter, you know. I mean, you know, he's so much better than, you know. But that's the way people feel. I think the reason people feel that way is because, you know, a son is like a man, you know. It makes you feel like a man. If I could have a son, it's kind of a man. It makes you feel more manly. You can have a bond with your son. You can't bond with your daughter so much. You can learn with your son in the formal world. You can learn with your son. You can't learn with your daughter. Learn Torah with, you know. And, you know, in the non-formal, you can play sports with them, you know. That's what I want. I play sports with my son. I have 1 son, I have 3 daughters, you know. And even I felt this way. I mean, I don't know. People feel this way. I don't know. Maybe it's just my sect where I grew up, where I'm part of, the Haredi world. But when I had a son, I cried. He said, Tova Meiti, there's a special bracha. He said, Tova Meiti, only Shechianu when you have a girl. I had 3 girls. They're beautiful girls. I'm very happy with them. But I was bothered by why I have this feeling, and society makes me feel like a son is better than a girl. And in rationality, you know, if you think about it on a grand scale, a girl is better than a boy for many reasons. Number one, girls don't cause you as much trouble as boys. Boys fight. They compete. They're going to compete with their father, their parents. Girls usually help out. They take care of their other kids. Second of all, everyone knows the famous adage, right? A girl is a girl for life, you know, and a boy is a girl is your daughter for life, and a boy is a son until he finds a wife, right? The boys, when they get married, they go to their wife's house, their wife's family. The daughter always remains with you, so they might carry on your name, your legacy, but who cares about your legacy? You don't spend time with them anymore. So for those reasons, and the third reason I mentioned in one of my videos is that girls are better to have in the house. First of all, more fun, and second of all, they bake and they cook and they take care of their siblings, and and they bake nice cakes for you, so you get physical enjoyment out of it. The girls. The boys, they don't do anything. They don't cook. They just go to yeshiva. They learn. They want money. Girls also want money, and they're probably more expensive than boys. But I want to, based on that, I want to explain this Gemara over here. That the Gemara says when a person says they have a child, maybe he only meant a child that's important in people's eyes, right? People's eyes, a son is more important than a daughter. Kamash Malan, what? Kamash Malan, no. It doesn't sound like a girl is just as important as a son. No. Kamash Malan, he meant any child, even if it's, not the greatest child, not as great as a son, a daughter. But it's a little deeper because Nazir, as I mentioned, is like type of neder, and a neder is different than a shvuah. It's different than other types of proclamations you make in halacha because it gives a chefs. It changes a status. Your words themselves, the koach hadibur, the words themselves, are significant. So that's what the Gemara is saying over. You might have thought Nazir is like a shvuah, right? And what a shvuah is, when a person takes a shvuah, it's an isser on the gavra. They're just committing to something. So when you commit to something, the main part we're focusing is on your mindset, right? On your mindset. The words can do two things. Words can either create a status, like Nadarim, or words can just reveal what your thoughts are, right? It's a revelation. We don't know what your thoughts are. When you speak, you tell us what your thoughts are. So by Shvuah, that's important. Your thoughts are the main part. The word is just revealing what your thoughts are. So therefore, when it comes to a Shvuah, assuming Nazir was like a Shvuah, so therefore, when a person says Avlad, we go based on what people think. And most people, even though it's not the right thing, the way of thinking, but we are programmed to think that girls are inferior to boys. Boys are better. So therefore, you go after the person's das, what they think, what most people think. And therefore, when he said Vlad, he meant, right, only a boy. Kamash Malan, no. Naziris is different than a Shvuah. Naziris is a type of a neder. The word is not just a reflection of your thought, because we don't care about your thoughts in Naziris. We care about the actuality of your words. The words create a chefsa. And according to the truth of the Torah, this is the real idea. The Torah tells you the truth. Even though people were programmed, the matrix, I'm not going to say that. It programs you to think a certain way. Society programs us, peer pressure programs us to think a certain way. Nonetheless, the truth, the Torah is the truth. The Torah tells us the truth. And in many ways, a girl is equal to a boy, or even better than a boy. So therefore, we go after your actual words, and how do we judge your words? Not based on your thoughts or what people think. The truth of your words, is that of Vlad, a girl is just as good as a boy, and therefore it's included. If you said a ben, you said explicitly a son, so your words tell you ben means a son. However, if you go based on when you say Vlad, so you go with the Torah's perception of what a child is, and a girl is just as good as a boy, so there's no reason to go after a person's thoughts, even though most people think the only important kind of child that I want to have is a son. But we go after Naziris is kolach hadibur, like Nadarim, right? The chefs, it changes the status upon the person's head, and therefore there's all these surah and Nazir. So therefore we judge the words as they are, as the Torah perceives, and not what you think, not what people think. And that is the chiddush of the Gemara. That's the Kamash Malan, the Gemara. I hope you enjoyed today's shiur. See you in the next one.